Guess who's back? That's right, y'all. We back for another week of Just a Fan Podcast. What's up? What's up? I'm quarter host, Wildcat quarterback that runs the show, NFL Encyclopedia, Coach Williams. A-Gap football, y'all. Playoffs. A-Gap football. Big boy football. Let's go. That direction. Panel 316, the good guy with the black hat. What's up?
Still a good guy with the black hat, man. Still putting these hot takes on folks.
Get them. Get them.
It's going to be like hot coals. I'm going to say things people ain't going to like, but it's going to be the truth.
Get them.
How uncomfortable it makes people feel. I'm going to say what I'm going to say.
Get them.
All right.
Down below. Steve, Space Age White, man. What's up?
What up, Donald?
Come on, let's get it.
What's up, Donald? What's up, Keenan? All right. So, man, I tell you, a lot of games was a blowout this past weekend, man. Like, it was just blowout to blowout to blowout. One good game, one upset, but definitely a lot of blowouts. Let's cover what? Let's do what? Philadelphia versus.
You can go in order of the games as they were played.
Okay, that's fine. Do that. Which ones played first?
Okay, so we had the Chargers that Rex Ryan said had a bye week against the Texans. You know, and last week I like to point out that Tristan said I was wrong. Unequivocally wrong when I picked the Texans to win that game. If y'all recall, for those of y'all who watch us every week, for our really faithful fans that watch us every week, y'all remember that show last week? Tristan said, "Yeah, you're wrong. you're wrong." I said, "Well, the Texans they're in NRG Stadium, and that defense is on another level in NRG Stadium in the playoffs. That is a different building." Did I not say? I said, that is a different building during the playoffs. It's different in there. Ask the Cleveland Browns last year. Ask the Chargers this year. It's a different building.
I think.
And go ahead.
No, I think Tristan. He's a Herbert fan. I think Tristan wanted to see Herbert get that monkey off his back. I think that's what Tristan was holding.
He got the whole doggone monkey cage on his back now. After that. Because I wish we had the video that I sent on the Marco Polo to Tristan. Every single time Justin Herbert threw an interception, it was just a Marco and me just looking at the camera with the Stone Cold Steve Austin theme playing in the background. Because you sit up here and you talk about how the Chargers are going to come into NRG Stadium and they're going to whoop the Texans. Disclaimer, I'm not a Texas fan. I'm just from Houston. But that just ain't going to happen because Justin Herbert came in and he threw not one, not two, not three, but 4 interceptions. You can talk about your Justin Herbert. You can talk about your Jim Harbaugh. Well, Pando 316 says I just proved you wrong.
And and I said it as well. A lot of teams play possum during the season, man. They take some weeks off. Playoffs, a whole new season. Whole new season.
You know some teams that took a whole playoff game off. We're gonna get to that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But
Great line.
But the thing is, talking about that all seriousness, I did my little shtick with Steve Austin. But thing about the Texans is people don't understand how good that defense is. And the return of Azeez Al-Shaair, the green dot guy, because he was that green dot guy. When Texans fell off for that little period of time right before the playoffs, Azeez was suspended, if you remember.
Three games.
Yeah, because remember, he put Trevor Lawrence to sleep. And basically, that hurt that defense a lot when he returned. Because those of y'all who really know football, and for those of y'all who don't, I'm going to explain it like this. You have your tactical presence on the field, and then you have your emotional presence on the field. You have Azeez Al-Shaair, as middle linebacker for the Texans, and he was groomed by DeMeco Ryans when he was in San Francisco. DeMeco Ryans was one of the ones that had him drafted. DeMeco Ryans was one of the ones that trained him. And basically, he followed DeMeco Ryans over to Houston. He made a stop in Tennessee. He realized he was in the wrong place. He just went over to Houston, followed DeMeco Ryans over there. But he is the emotional leader of that defense. He charges those guys up to play. And then not only that, he's the tactical leader of it because he lines up. God, I wish we could play that video of Azeez making a call, making an adjustment right before the snap that led to, I believe, Justin Herbert's third interception. Because he read and saw what was finna happen and made a call. And it was like, wow. You know, and DeMeco Ryans on the side, DeMeco was mic'd up. And he was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's it right there, like that. And it was like Azeez made that defensive audible right before the snap. And it led to that interception. So when you have certain pieces that are back in place for your team, he's a tactical and an emotional leader. That kind of galvanizes that defense. That being said, Houston's got some issues on offense. They got to get it together before this weekend, honestly. The Chargers, they just ran into a buzzsaw. I still think Justin Herbert's a good quarterback. All jokes aside, I think he's still a good quarterback.
Yeah, definitely.
I just think he ran into a buzzsaw this weekend because a lot of people underestimated Houston's defense. It's like, hey, man, that defense is good. Because let's be honest, the defense won that game for Houston. The offense did, you know, if you want to put it in a percentage, it was 80-20 defense in that game. It was 80-20.
They were.
So, you know, they underestimated that defense. I don't think the Chargers are ready for prime time. Congratulations on them for making the playoffs again under Harbaugh. Harbaugh's first year. We always talk about Jim Harbaugh. He's a program flipper.
Flipper.
They went from, man, the Chargers ain't nobody to, okay, the Chargers made the playoffs, man. They looking, you know, Ladd McConkey is him, even though that's a problem because he's the only real target that they can trust. I think he'd be a great number 2 or 3, but they relied on him too much. I think Justin Herbert's still a good quarterback. I think he needs more weapons around him.
Agreed.
But I thought we haven't heard the last of the Chargers.
Oh no, not at all.
Shout out to Denavia Mosley. We have not heard the last of the Chargers. This is one of my coworkers. He's a huge Chargers fan, but we haven't heard the last of them. I think they're on the rise. But they ran into a buzzsaw. NRG Stadium's a different place during the playoffs. Thoughts, gentlemen?
So I was surprised because I don't like the Texans offensive line. I still don't like the Texans offensive line. I think with Diggs being out for the season and Tank Dell being out for the season, I didn't think they had enough at wide receiver. So, and I know Jim Harbaugh likes to be physical because all his teams in the past have been physical. So, what up, Eric?
What up, E?
The way I was viewing it was like, okay, this is playoff football. This is right down Jim Harbaugh's alley. And so this might be a good time for them to get a win and move on to the next round. So, but like you said, Houston's defense is different. The environment was different at NRG Stadium. The Chargers will be fine moving forward as long as they continue to add the right players to the roster, and I believe they will. Like you said, they need another receiver to pair with Lamb McConkey. What's up, Q?
What up, Q?
And now it seems like Khalil Mack might retire, so they're gonna need another pass rusher to pair with Joey Bosa. So, but we'll see what they look like moving forward.
Hey, that's something that we need to monitor moving forward. We hadn't talked about is the potential loss of Khalil Mack,
Mm-hmm.
who last year quietly had double-digit sacks, and I'm not quite sure what his stat line was this year. I think he played really well this year.
I think he did.
So that's something we need to monitor because that's going to really hurt that defense. However, Jim Harbaugh is a good drafter, especially when Trent Baalke is in his way. Oh yeah, Trent Baalke gonna get this work.
Oh yeah, he just needs a little bit of time to get his roster in place. I mean, he inherited a roster. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
we haven't heard the last one, like you said. We haven't heard
the roster he inherited is not completing his vision yet.
Exactly.
It's getting there, but it's not there yet.
Yeah, no, I mean it's year one, but no, I think there's very few, and I think y'all agree with me with what I'm about to say. I think there's very few coaches that can take whatever's in the back of the refrigerator and cook a meal like Jim Harbaugh. Y'all feel me?
No, I get it. I mean, shoot, that's why I say he's a program flipper. I mean, San Francisco was struggling. They became a physical powerhouse Super Bowl contender. He went to Michigan. They became a physical powerhouse and they won the national championship.
Hold on, I'm gonna do you one better. Let's back up a little bit. Before he was in San Francisco, where was he?
He was at Stanford.
Uh-huh.
And he flipped Stanford's program.
There you go. Before he was at Stanford, where was he?
Now that part I don't know.
San Diego State.
Okay.
And they became a respectable program in a short amount of time.
Okay.
So yeah, man, it's you know that I can't stop saying enough positive things about Jim Harbaugh. You know, if he's allowed to stay where he is long enough and given the things that he's needed, he's going to win you a championship. So Chargers fans, don't get down. You're doing much better than Staley. Okay, so
man,
yeah. So, but moving on, talking about the rubber match between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh God,
this is another game that I picked the Ravens to win. I had no idea it was going to be this bad. I was not prepared. I knew the Ravens would win this game, but I was not prepared for the carnage that I witnessed on that day.
I'm not surprised.
I already talked about the first game. Steve, you could go first on this one.
I'm not surprised, man. Listen, that atmosphere, man. I don't know if y'all been to a home game at M&T at the bank. Man, I've been to plenty of them. That atmosphere is electric. It's very difficult to win in that building, especially during playoffs. But I thought they were going to win by a possession or two, just because they won the week before against them, something like that, or 2 weeks before. And I'm glad to see the Ravens stick to the run, stick to what works for them, and use that, man. I like what I saw, man, and they're a tough team. Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, should win the MVP.
Agreed.
I mean, he's had a better season than Josh Allen. I know we're not doing Pando's picks yet, but it's gonna be a big game. Big game this upcoming weekend. But I'm glad to see Baltimore win, and I like seeing all the fans excited.
Yeah, I believe, and a lot of people is gonna say, "Oh no, he's always been," and pump your brakes. But I believe that Lamar Jackson has reached another level in his evolution as a passer this year. I think he's constantly. First of all, let me be clear. I don't think he was ever a bad passer. That's first thing. Let me say that. But I'm witnessing the first touchdown, and we're working, ladies and gentlemen, on really getting a little bit more technologically advanced on Just a Fan podcast, because hopefully this time next year we're gonna actually have clips that we're gonna be playing. But his first touchdown pass, and I believe it was to Rashad Bateman,
Okay.
was a layered pass. His layering of the ball, it was over the linebackers right in front of the secondary, and he got it in there. Had he thrown that on a line, it would have been intercepted. But because he's evolved as a passer, he's not just relying on just arm strength, but now he's becoming more accurate. That makes him even more dangerous, because we already know about his legs. We know about his legs.
Being able to scramble and run. Yep.
Yeah. So we okay, read option. Now you got Derrick Henry in the backfield, which, oh my God, that's scary. So you got to read option. And now you take that and you put that on top of his ability to be a better passer than what he's been. And that's scary. That's scary. Derrick Henry, I think he set the tone for that game in the first quarter when he came charging downfield and he pimp slapped Micah Fitzpatrick, who we know is a heck of a player, very tough player. He pimp slapped Micah Fitzpatrick, and on the way down, he was trying to slap him again to make sure he was down. Like I said, we need to have clips, but he set the tone for the physicality of this game. Say, hey, we finna come in here and we finna do something foul to y'all. I was not prepared for the Steelers to just kind of, I don't know.
Apart.
I guess that's.
But you got to think about it though. Pittsburgh did back up into the playoffs. They had lost 4 games in a row prior to that loss in the wild card round. So
yeah.
And Russell Wilson is done. Okay, let's talk. We can talk briefly about that. Russell Wilson is done. He flamed out in Seattle. He flamed out in Denver. He flamed out in Pittsburgh. I think it's time for him to retire. That's the way I see it. I know he may not feel like he's ready to retire yet because he think he probably still got it. I think he's done. I do. I think he's done.
Here's the thing, because that's a slippery slope with Russell Wilson with myself, because every time, and I'm really not making this up, every time I form an opinion about Russell Wilson, it doesn't happen with any other player. It just happens with Russell Wilson. Every time I form an opinion with Russell Wilson about Russell Wilson, he goes and does the exact opposite. If I say, hey, he's washed, he ain't got it no more, he goes out there and just balls out. You're like, God, dog. And then if I say, man, Russell Wilson gonna go out there, he gonna do it, man. He still got it. He still got the juice. That's when he goes out and has like maybe a 2-3 interception game. So I reserve judgment on Russell Wilson.
I understand.
Because of that right there alone. I know it sounds crazy, but because of that alone, I'm just like, hey man, I can't call it. So but it was a stinker for Pittsburgh all the way around. It wasn't just Russell Wilson. I was really expecting a more competitive game. That did not happen. I knew the Ravens were going to win, but I was expecting, this is the AFC North. I'm expecting like they say in wrestling, the slobber knocker.
Yeah, of course.
And it wasn't. It was a one-sided slobber knocker. But we'll have some more conversations later about Mike Tomlin. A lot of people are speculating about his future in Pittsburgh, which I'm calling right off the top poppycock. He's not going anywhere.
Well, I agree. It's just that for him, he's lost 8 playoff games in a row, and his playoff record is not good. I think it's like 8-11 or something. So it's definitely a struggle. No, he needs a quarterback, and that defense just keep getting older and older by the year. So
they may be losing Cam Hayward by next year. This is just speculation. I'm not saying We're not like some other platforms that say, yeah, Cam Hayward's going to retire. You know, they just so definite about certain things. That's not who we are on this podcast. But if you watch Cam Hayward, I don't know. I don't know if he's got it anymore in him anymore, if that makes sense. To be the explosive defensive tackle that he is. Or has been, rather.
Right.
I'm not finna use the W word, you know, the appliance, Whirlpool, Frigidaire. I'm not gonna use the W word, but it's clearly evident that he's taking a step back. Couple of steps back. So yeah, man. Like you said, you got defense getting older. I feel like they're wasting TJ Watt in his prime.
Yes, definitely.
Because he's still in his prime. He's still one of the most devastating pass rushers in the league.
Yes.
But that being said, you know, you gotta get your quarterback in there. And I heard someone have a take earlier that kind of bothered me. And they said that because I always say that Kirk Cousins is Dak Prescott with a better PR firm.
Right.
People are saying that Mike Tomlin is Mike McCarthy with a better PR firm.
No, Mike Tomlin's a program flipper as well. It's just been a struggle for him lately, unfortunately. But no, they're two completely different coaches.
I agree. You know, I had to agree with that. But I'm just saying these are some of the takes that we're hearing. People think he's on the outs in Pittsburgh. And I'm like, that's ridiculous because you have no knowledge of the history of the NFL. If you
have no knowledge of the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who hasn't fired anybody since 1968.
Come on. Speak on it.
I mean, Chuck Noll was hired in 1969.
Go ahead.
And he stayed there until he retired, I think maybe 91 or 92, something like that. Bill Cowher got hired. There were times Bill Cowher was on a hot seat. I remember those. Mm-hmm. I remember those conversations that was being mentioned on like ESPN and stuff.
But did
Bill Cowher stayed there the whole time, went to the Super Bowl with Jerome Bettis and ended up winning the Super Bowl. Jerome Bettis retired. And I think maybe Bill Cowher retired or he stayed maybe another year or two. I forgot. But anyway, and then he ended up retiring. Now they have hired Mike Tomlin. And I forgot when that was, but Mike Tomlin's not going anywhere anytime soon. So
yeah, the Steelers as an organization, I feel like every team in the NFL needs to take notes from about how to maintain continuity, how to, stay the course, how not to be knee-jerk,
how to hire the right head coach,
how to hire the right coach, of course.
And remember, the Patriots and a lot of other teams, including the Cowboys, took draft notes from the Steelers when they were investing in the offensive line in the first round. They were one of the first teams to really focus on that and build a foundation there. So, teams they don't give credit, but they've taken notes from the Steelers for sure.
And the thing is that, again, the people that are saying that Mike Tomlin's on the outs, like, you don't know. We ain't gonna say you don't know X's and O's. We're not finna say that, but we gonna say you don't know a whole lot about the history of the NFL if you say something like that. Because the Steelers, they don't fire coaches. They do not fire coaches. You have some franchises if the coach sneezed the wrong way, oh, he gotta go. Like, hey man, like, give him some time. No, he gotta go. Like that, And I think that the Steelers, again, they are masters. They are masters at how not to be knee jerk when things happen. We got to make a decision right away and everything. It's like, no, they don't believe in doing that. But that being said, they have got to find their franchise quarterback.
Yes, they do.
I think that's what's hurting them more than anything else. They still have a really solid running game. I still think that offensive line is good. The defense is aging, but it's still very good. And then when you look at it, it's just really having that quarterback. They need the next Ben Roethlisberger or whatever to walk through the door. So, or else they're going to be spinning their wheels. They're going to be just good enough to get in the playoffs, but not good enough to really make any real noise. I think that's going to be the thing. So, they're going to have to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. Steve, what you got on that before we go to the next game?
Nope, you said everything. I agree 100%.
Okay.
I already chimed in.
Hey, hold on real quick. We have a question.
Cool.
Regarding Tomlin and the Steelers. Let's go ahead and address this.
All right.
When was the last time Tomlin didn't make the playoffs? Now, that's a good question.
That's a very good question.
What
up, Chef?
Oh.
Yeah, that's Mr. Chevis Ross, the percussion instructor at Grambling State University.
Oh, what's up?
Also a member of Phi Mu Alpha Symphonia, professional music fraternity for men. Yeah.
All right now. By the way, just real quick, something random. TJ Watt is 30 years old.
That's still prime.
No, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pittsburgh. Last time they didn't make the play. Oh Lord. Let's see.
I'm trying to pull it up myself too.
Yeah, I know. I'm scrambling. I'm trying to find like the best place to look for that.
He's but while you're looking, he has he's been in the playoffs 07, 08. They missed it in 09. They were, of course, in 08, they were the champions. They were the AFC champions in 2010. 2011, they made the playoffs. They had a 2-year drought between 12 and 13. 14, 15, 16, 17, they made the playoffs. They had a 2-year drought in 19. And then they were back in 2020 and 2021. They missed it in 2022. Then they came back in 2023 and 2024.
So it sounds like 2022 is the last time they
Mm-hmm.
By the way, what's up, Titus?
That's all during Tomlin's tenure.
So it sounds like we said 2022 is the last time they missed the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's a pretty impressive playoff run.
Yes, it is.
Under one coach.
Yep.
And again, we want everybody. I think everybody knows this. His worst record is 8-8.
His worst record is 8-8. That is crazy.
Yes, sir. That's it. That's his absolute worst record.
Mike Tomlin's worst record is at 50%. I want people to really stop and think about that.
You got to wrap your head around that. You can't be knee jerk. And like I said, we live in a society. I'm gonna keep saying this. I say it all the time. I say it all the time on our on the show. We live in a society where people are so knee jerk and quick to react and not think about stuff. It's like, it's like, either you the GOAT or you trash, and there's so many levels in between there. So, the people are like, Tomlin out, Tomlin need to go, or Tomlin this, and it's like, okay, I need you to really look at this. This man been the coach for 19 years of this franchise, and his worst record in 19 years is 8-8.
8-8. And guess what? In 2022, his starting quarterback was Kenny Pickett, the rookie.
So there you go. Yeah. So there you go. So let's pump the brakes on Mike Tomlin finna go and wait. No, here's my favorite, Brandon. You ready for this one?
Uh-oh.
They're gonna trade Mike Tomlin.
Listen. That's also, it's not firing Mike Tomlin, but that's also just saying, like, I'm gonna get rid of the guy.
Who you
First of all, even if you wanted to trade for Mike Tomlin, do you know what you had to give up for Mike Tomlin? Like, good luck to you.
And the Rooneys are not people that you can make them an offer they can't refuse. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
They're not that type of franchise. And that's why they have my utmost respect as an organization.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on, the Broncos traveled to Buffalo to play the Bills. Ooh, child. And once again, I picked this game for Buffalo to win this game, but again, had no clue that it was going to turn out like this. 31.
Yeah, I didn't either. I really didn't either.
Go ahead, take it away. I'll follow up.
I don't know. I thought Denver's defense would have been better and better prepared for Buffalo. Now, I will say this. I know Bo Nix is a rookie, and I'm glad he took his lump like this because him and Sean Payton should be able to build off of this. They should have just the entire season, not just the game, but the entire season to look back, review, and say, okay, what went right, what went wrong. It was definitely a positive learning experience overall. They have a good receiver in Cortland Sutton. He developed a good chemistry with Marvin Mims towards the end of the season. They still
not to cut you off. I just want to point out that Just a Fan Podcast identified Marvin Mims when he was coming out in the draft. We're talking about he was going to be a draft steal because we did a whole video on him on TikTok. And he wound up being a very impressive player for Denver. Go ahead.
So now Denver still needs some players. They need a tight end, a running back, a safety. But other than that, though, like I said, overall, Denver has a lot to build. Has a lot to build off for moving on in the future. And I was the one that kept saying it. Sean Payton knows quarterbacks. He took Bo Nix for a reason.
You did say that.
He took Bo Nix for a reason, and moving forward, Bo Nix is going to be a problem. That AFC West is crowded with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, Sean Payton and Bo Nix, and then Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. That division is crowded, very crowded.
And that bears relevance to another topic we're going to get to later on in the show, but thank you. I'm glad you brought that up. But the cool thing is the Broncos, just like the Chargers, are they're one of those teams that's on the rise.
Yes.
They're on their way. They're on their way, and you can see that. And you're not going to be able to sleep on these guys anymore. They're going to come in here and they're going to punch you in the face, especially if you, go out and get some more pieces. The things that they're missing, they improve on some things, and I feel like they're well-coached teams. Sean Payton, you can't do too bad with Sean Payton.
Not at all.
But you definitely can't do too bad with Jim Harbaugh. So I like that because it's putting parity in the AFC West. Because everybody, I think, except Kansas City fans, are tired of Kansas City. I don't know. I don't think there's anybody, that's not a Kansas City fan that isn't tired of them. So, yeah, man. This is gonna turn the AFC West into one of those powerhouse divisions. With the rise of the Broncos, the Chargers are gonna get better. Of course, we know we don't think the Chiefs are going anywhere. I seriously doubt that. So, yeah, that division is gonna be really interesting moving forward. So here's a question I have for you, gentlemen, about this game. Bills Mafia. They stole some Broncos. That's a good caption. So what are your thoughts about Josh Allen in this game?
Josh Allen was a hero when he needed to be. Okay.
I'm glad you that way. I'm glad you said that.
Because Joe Brady and something else about the Bills, excuse me, not the Broncos. The Bills have not turned the ball over that much this offseason. Okay. They haven't. So if there's a time for them to try to win the Super Bowl, this would be the season because, like I said, they haven't turned the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good running game, especially led by James Cook. Offense coordinator Joe Brady is not putting Josh Allen in harm's way. So
that's it.
Between all of that, lack of turnovers, Josh Allen, you be Superman when need be. Key phrase.
Not every day.
Be.
Right, not every
and
down.
James Cook at running back. Okay? That right there could be maybe enough if you keep doing this every game, could possibly get you a ring. Now it's the time. Because hold on. Because you may not get this again. This is it. This could be it. Go ahead.
$120 and a touchdown. And then you still had Ty Johnson come in and he gave you 44 yards. I have been beating the table screaming all season long about Buffalo and their ability and their newfound balance. That's the thing. Because beforehand there was not balance in Buffalo. And now we're seeing the balance, and now we're seeing the fruits of them playing balanced complementary football. Mm-hmm. Because they're running the ball. Mm-hmm. And they're not relying. Okay, Josh, go win us a game. Mm-hmm. They're not doing it anymore. Mm-hmm. So what? Huh?
No, because they do this every year, man. I'm not falling for it, man.
No, Steve, I hear what you're saying.
Third round, they abandon the game plan, and Josh Allen plays hero ball and they lose every single time.
Okay, so here's the difference.
Listen, hold on.
You want to get this one, Brandon?
Wait. Steve, I hear you.
Uh-huh.
I think in the past, the offensive coordinator was Ken Dorsey. Mm-hmm. So Ken Dorsey, being a former quarterback himself, always said, hey, Josh Allen, go be Superman. Go do what Cam Newton did. Go rip your shirt off and put the S on your chest and go be Superman. Joe Brady is saying, no, I don't need you to be Superman. Now, if they go back and doing that, then Joe Brady does not need to be a head coach in the NFL. Okay? You need to do what's working right now. And now is the time, Steve. Steve, wait. I'm not sitting here saying that I don't agree with what happened in the past, okay? But you got to remember, Dorsey was fired in the middle of the season last year, and Joe Brady took over. And now Joe Brady has took from whatever happened in the second half last year and revised it. And now, like I said, the number of turnovers have gone down. When Dorsey was running the offense, Josh Allen was fumbling, throwing interceptions like it was no tomorrow. I just said that Joe Brady has changed the offense. The turnovers are down. They're running the ball, and they don't need him to be Superman every single play. I like OCs like Joe Brady who sit here and say, hey, my quarterback don't need to be Superman every single play, every single game, okay? Now, could this thing go left field? Yes, it can. I'm not promising or guaranteeing anything. But right now, based on what I've seen, based on what I've heard, this is the time now to try. The key word is try to get a Super Bowl.
Let me say this: they've been trying. Nothing. Sean McDermott's still their head coach, so Joe Brady can come in and revitalize this, that, and that. Sean McDermott, their head coach in the postseason for the past every year.
I understand
Crunch time,
that.
they changed their game plan.
Joe Brady is in charge of the offense.
Let me finish. It's not the turnovers. It's one read, bounce from the pocket. That's been Josh Allen's mentality. So whether Joe Brady wants him to do it or not, that's been his behavior in the playoffs. And I'm speaking in the playoffs only, not the regular season. The playoffs, we know teams act brand new.
I understand.
In the playoffs. So don't be surprised. I've been favoring the Bills since Diggs was there. I would have loved to see them do well, but I know
you did. I know.
In the playoffs, teams get brand new, and I'm expecting it from the Bills. I just am. I'm expecting it from the Bills.
Hey, listen. I understand, and I cannot argue with what you just said. All I'm saying is, right now, based on what's going on, Eric, stop the nonsense. Thank you. Based on what is going on right now, and yes, like I said, yes, things can go left field. It can, but based on what's going on right now, I have I'm not saying Buffalo's going to the Super Bowl and winning it. I'm saying right now is the best time to win it because you may not get this opportunity again. You may not. This could be it, and good luck.
But their window's been closing for the past 2 years, anyways.
Yes, it has, but because of the turnover differential, and this is playoff football, you can't be turning the ball over. This is the time to not be to try to get to the Super Bowl and win. This is the time because, like I said, next year could be it. I mean, this year could be it, and then next year you could be falling apart faster than what you're doing right now.
And I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying they've been to. I just don't personally believe they're a brand new Buffalo Bills team just because of Brady. Like they've been to the second round. They've been to the conference championship many years in a row. And it's just like, and this is why coaching and their opponents have always. Their opponents usually have better coaches, i.e., the Chiefs. Because even though they don't play them this week, but like they always get out coached because they always revert and go into panic mode and don't stick to what got them there. And I really hope Baltimore doesn't do the same thing because Baltimore's known to abandon the run, which is what works for them.
Well, you know what? I tell you what. Go ahead and let Josh Allen go back to being Superman every single play.
It's possible.
And you guys get eliminated from the playoffs.
Oh,
like I said, hold on, wait. Like I said, Joe Brady should not be a head coach, and at some point, Sean McDermott going to have to be put on a hot seat because he has fired his offensive coordinator since he's been there, and he's fired his defensive coordinator since he's been there. So at some point, if you got to change things, you got to at some point, and you got to be desperate enough. And if it took bringing in firing Ken Dorsey and making James Cook James Cook, Lord have mercy. Joe Brady, offensive coordinator, so that way things can change offensively. And like I said, minimum turnovers. That helps. Anything you need helps. But you go back to doing what you was doing, at some point, Sean McDermott should be on the hot seat. I don't care how good he's been doing. I know Buffalo's back. Well, not back, but this is the closest thing they've been since they lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. This is the closest they've been. So I'll give them that. But at some point, Sean McDermott should be on the hot seat if he continues to do this stupid stuff.
So that being said, we're witnessing a different version of the Buffalo Bills. Now, does that mean that they'll go and beat the Ravens this weekend? I don't know. I will get to it when we get to my picks. But we cannot sit up and look at the Buffalo from last year and look at the Buffalo from this year and say they're the same team. The turnovers are down. The efficiency is up with the passing. Again, they're number 2 in scoring. So they're doing something right. Okay. So, and they went out there and did it against a very good Broncos defense. So we'll see. But I'm with Brandon on this. I think they're a different team. They're doing something different, and we're gonna really know something if they were to go into, excuse me, if they would go into this game this week and beat the Ravens. We don't know. We'll see when I do my picks. Okay, next game. Packers at the Eagles. This is another game I picked. The Eagles. I picked correctly. The Eagles
I
won.
expect this to be more competitive.
I did expect this to be more competitive. But that being said, I think what really happened was how well it wasn't really about, if you really look at it, it wasn't really about Justin Hurts. That's it,
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, excuse me, Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Apologies. It wasn't really about Jalen Hurts. It was really about the Eagles defense, like I said it was probably going to be about. The Eagles defense is, again, led by Vic Fangio.
Vic Fangio. Listen,
is him.
Vic Fangio
is
listen.
Him.
You know what? I need to be on a Hall of Fame committee. But when I'm on the Hall of Fame committee, I need to be the one inducting head coaches and coordinators and whatever else. Because whenever Vic Fangio's done in the NFL, he needs to go to the Hall of Fame.
Let me say this. And not to discredit the Eagles, but the Packers, they won their young team, but two, they played really bad. And it wasn't necessarily scheming. Jordan Love threw 3 interceptions that he shouldn't have thrown. So it wasn't like Vic Fangio was tricking and deceiving Jordan Love. Jordan Love played terrible. He should have thrown 5 picks. 2 were dropped.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been 5 picks that he threw.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to share that. They played really bad, the Packers did. They just did. And Jalen Hurts didn't play great either. The Packers gave.
No. I agree.
No one's giving. Look, listen. Hold on.
The Packers gave.
You know me. Hold on, Steve. You know me. I didn't, and Eric knows me too. I'm the hardest person on Jalen. Pause. I give Jalen Hurts the most difficult time in the world. Okay. I did not give Jalen Hurts no credit from this past weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know me. I ain't say nothing about you. I said Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
And if you sit here talking about Jordan Love threw 3 interceptions, should have thrown 5, and he wasn't. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something. And you don't know about Fangio's scheme, especially in the secondary. He has some of the best coverage rotations in the NFL. So Jordan Love had to be saying something.
He played bad, man. He just did. Throwing triple cut. He played bad. I don't want to discredit Vic Fangio. We know he's a DC, but no, Jordan Love played terrible. A lot of that loss was on Jordan Love himself. It just was.
I just like to point out.
There was a corner that shaded one way and then ran to where he knew the route. No, Jordan Love was going in triple coverage. He should have thrown 5 picks. That's not a Fangio thing.
Whoa. Why was he throwing in triple coverage? So you gonna say and just say Jordan Love just gonna throw in the triple coverage for no reason?
Yes.
Vic Fangio did not scheme anything.
He played. Not in the same scheme.
I'm saying. No. Hold on, Steve. Come on, Steve. Come on, Steve.
No, man.
Vic Fangio didn't. Okay.
Listen.
You know what? Okay. Eric, go ahead. I'm done with this one.
Yeah, man. Hey, Steve, come on, man.
So Vic Fangio is such a genius. He's tricking Jordan Love into throwing 5 picks.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, Steve, you got it. Go ahead, Eric. You got it.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that 2 things can be true at the same time. That's what I'm saying. Is it true that Jordan Love played terrible? Absolutely. Nobody's saying that's not true. But we're not going to sit up here and act like the defense wasn't in the right place to get those interceptions. Okay.
That's what I said.
What I'm saying is the scheme had a lot to do with it. And like I said, when I was making my picks last week, I said it's going to be more about the Eagles defense than anything that Saquon Barkley or Jalen Hurts does. And Saquon had a $119. He did his thing. But you know, it really was more about the overwhelming main idea of this game was the Eagles defense. That's really what it was. Like the same thing as with the Texans and the Chargers. The overwhelming thing was the Texans defense. The offense wasn't that great. I think Joe Mixon, going back to the Texans, I think Joe Mixon got over $1, but realistically, it was about the defense. And the offense is going to have to do a lot better this coming week. They can't play like they played this week. And also to Green Bay's, I'm gonna give Green Bay some grace. You know, you lost 2 receivers in that game. You already went into there missing one in Christian Watson, and then you lost. I want to say Wicks got hurt. I think it was a shoulder. Then it was another receiver, I believe, got a concussion. So they were down to like their 4th, 5th, you know, almost 6th receiver. Now a lot of that is on Matt LaFleur for not using Josh Jacobs a whole lot. Josh Jacobs had the team on his back for the majority of this season. And now to your point, Steve, about teams just kind of going away from what's working. You mentioned that about Buffalo. They always do that in the playoffs. That's what Green Bay did. They went away from what's working. Josh Jacobs has been mauling teams all season long, and they went away from Josh Jacobs really just doing his thing. And they tried to put it too much on Jordan Love, which I like to bring up the fact that he makes $55 million a year. I want to bring that up because that brings relevance to certain quarterback contract negotiations. And I'm going to leave that alone. But, you know, he ain't got past the second round. He got curb stomped in the second round last year. Then he didn't get past the first round this year. But, you know, $55 million. You know, but you don't want to pay another quarterback. They got all the way to the Super Bowl that same amount.
Okay.
But I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave it alone.
And all I'm saying, I started saying I'm not discrediting Fangio for being a good DC. I'm saying when you're throwing in double coverage to your number 4 receiver down the field, corner on them, cover like a blanket and a safety, and they pick the ball up, that's not Vic Fangio genius right there. It's just not. It's not. And one of those deep passes would drop. So I'm saying Jordan, I'm attributing that win more so to Jordan Love having a bad game with the injured roster, injured weapons. I mean, I think that's part of it. That's just from what I saw. That's a big part of it.
Okay. We said that together. Okay. So the most competitive game of the week was the Commanders at the Bucks. This was another game that I picked correctly. This was the Commanders. I just, you know, I said Baker gonna start baking one way or another. He gonna fumble. He gonna throw an interception. And we came back down on the Baker Mayfield arc because you got that Baker Mayfield arc. He was uphill for a while. He stayed up there a while. And he came on back down in this game. And the Commanders' defense is really starting to play better. Now, are they all world? Absolutely not. But their defense is starting to play a lot better. To be fair, Marshawn Lattimore got cooked all night.
That hamstring needs to be rested.
Yeah, he's just got to sit down. Just hey man, don't play. You know, just get ready for next year. But you know, the Commanders did that thing. Jaden Daniels. I think it's really solidified himself as the offensive rookie of the year without question in this game. There's not a whole lot to talk about. Excuse me. There's not a whole lot to talk about other than some questionable calls with some coaches going for it on 4th down when they didn't need to. They put the game in question when they didn't need to because I think Dan Quinn thought his name was Dan Campbell. There was some instances where, you know, Jaden Daniels came up big at the end, got him in the field goal range. You had the Zane Gonzalez that was tweaking toward the end on the kick. I don't know if y'all saw that, but he doinked it on in. The thing is, had Dan Quinn kicked the field goals when he should have, when he was in field goal range, this game wouldn't have been as close as it was. I want to say he left somewhere between 6 to 9 points on the board. Off the board, rather. He left them out there on the field.
You're going to have to be careful doing that against Detroit this weekend.
Oh man, it's gonna be the my manhood is bigger than your manhood fest out there. You got Dan Quinn and Dan Campbell, but that's not in Dan Quinn's nature though. That's the thing. That's what was really shocking to me when I saw that. Todd Bowles is very old school, by the letter. I'm not gonna go forward. I'm gonna kick my field goals. If Dan Quinn would have played like this, perhaps we wouldn't be saying that this game was as competitive as it was. And I stand on that. Moving on, because we got to get to some other topics. This game here is the one that I missed by a country mile because the Minnesota Vikings decided to pick that game to lay an egg. I was 5-1 on my picks. The last game of the weekend, the Minnesota Vikings got dog walked by a vastly inferior Rams team. And I'm just like, what the heck? The offensive line forgot how to block. Sam Darnold showed us that he's still Sam Darnold. Okay? I'm looking at all you people that was talking about replacing Brock Purdy with Sam Darnold. Yeah, y'all still want us to keep that same energy?
Man, Sam Darnold definitely lost some money these last couple of weeks, man.
Oh man, you can see the numbers just rolling down like on an old fashioned gas pump. Except for
you ain't lying, man. Lord,
they were rolling backwards. Yeah, and I'm like, it was a bloody mess.
Hey, you remember those old Walmart commercials where the yellow smiley face used to hit the sign and knock down the prices?
That's exactly
what it used to look like.
Absolutely, yes.
That's what it used to look like.
And it was a team that was so potent earlier in the year, and the defense that was so stifling on top of that early in the year, just completely. It was the onus is always going to be on the quarterback. It's always going to be there. However, it was a complete team meltdown by Minnesota. They had no business. They didn't score a touchdown, gentlemen. They didn't score a touchdown. They allowed 9 sacks when they hadn't done anything remotely close to that all season. You check the stats. It was embarrassing. They got embarrassed by a team that they should have dog walked. Because let's just be honest, the Rams ain't doing it like that. They really aren't. And they just picked where the Rams came in. We got it on our mind. California's on fire. So we gonna do it for the home team. It's kind of like when the Saints came back to the Superdome after Hurricane Katrina and whooped the Falcons.
You know what? I'm sorry to cut you off. I feel like now that whole 14-3 season was just a waste.
Yes.
I feel like that was just a waste.
Yes.
And that was an opportunity that is literally down the drain. I don't know if Minnesota's ever going to get back to 14-3, anything close to it. They good team, but you're talking about eventually you have to replace Aaron Jones because I know Aaron Jones keep getting older at running back.
If I'm not mistaken, he's a free agent this year.
He's a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen at the quarterback position now. I mean, do you stick with Sam Darnold? Do you go with J.J. McCarthy, who's going to be going to a second year but didn't play at all this year? Daniel Jones was on the roster, but he's a free agent because his contract is up. So
but do you really want to go with Daniel Jones?
No, hold on. You know how I feel about Daniel Jones, okay? I'm just talking in general, okay? I'm talking in general. I'm not talking Dallas Cowboy Brandon. I'm talking NFL Brandon. Okay. So,
NFL Brandon ought to feel the same way too.
huh?
NFL Brandon should feel the same way.
Well, NFL Brandon does feel the same way, but NFL Brandon is trying to just talking right now. Okay, he's just talking. Okay, because Dallas Cowboy Brandon will go. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so, yeah, Minnesota. I don't know if Minnesota going to get back to where they were next year, man. They may take a huge step back. They could.
What, man? Their record was so hard to come by anyways. I feel like that stage was too big for Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
my God.
I think he lost that game himself. We were talking about it in real time, you know, the open field run. He's missing receivers. Receivers were open. He wasn't seeing them. I think he's never been on that stage before. I think he didn't know what to do. I don't see him being better next year than what he did this year in the playoffs, if they can make the playoffs next year. So I think you start with, you know, McCarthy right now.
Oh my God, the moment's too big. I'm seeing ghosts like my name is Peter Venkman. It was. There were moments in that game where I'm literally like, "Hey man, what you doing?" Like he had lanes to just take off and run. It wouldn't. I'm gonna stand back here and take this sack. It almost looked like it. I'm not saying that's what he did, but it almost looked like, you know, he was shaving points. Like, yeah, like somebody had paid him off big time or something.
And you know it's bad. My last point. You know it's bad when in the post game conference, when Kyle was talking about, well, let's not forget the year he had. Talking about Darnold, what he's done. Like, you're really harping on how good how much they won in the regular season. That was his opening statement in the post game conference. Like, yeah, nah, y'all don't have high expectations if you're harping on that. Nah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just that was a surprise of the week, because if the Vikings would play Vikings football like they've been playing all year, then they probably would have dog walked the Rams, because the Rams, there's nothing outside of Jed Verse and Fisk, those defensive linemen, and Young. There's nothing really spectacular about the Rams defense. There's nothing really Ahkello Witherspoon is one of their starting corners, you know. And I mean, no, you know, you got Cooper Kupp, I think got one catch this game. Puka Nacua was mid, you know. They lost Tyler Higbee. You had Karen Williams, you know, who went out and did his thing. But are the Rams a good team? Yeah. Are they honestly should they have been in the playoffs? No. And people are gonna say, well, they just beat the Minnesota Vikings by this many points. Okay, we'll keep that same energy next week. That's all I'm saying. Now, before we go any further, we're going to touch on this shortly. There are 6 coaching vacancies in the NFL. Jacksonville, Las Vegas, Dallas, Chicago, the Jets, and New Orleans. Briefly, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on those vacancies, and what do you see? What do you see happening in your mind realistically? Because I have some takes on that myself. Brandon, you can go first.
I'm gonna try to speed through all these as fast as possible. So we can get to your picks. I heard Aaron Glenn wants to go to the Jets. If I'm Aaron Glenn, I go to the Saints. And because I'm not going to the Jets to deal with Woody Johnson. I'm not.
Okay, I see that. I can see why you would say that. Now, here's the thing. Going the Saints, and before I get started, Eric James, Chevis Ross, Titus Ross, please do not get upset with me. But I don't make the news. I just report it. Okay. The Saints are as salary cap hell.
I know.
They have an aging roster.
I know.
And they do not have a franchise quarterback.
I know. And so this is where you know that the Saints are good at getting out of salary cap hell, because they've done it multiple times before.
Okay, not to cut you off. we know we've been saying it for the longest. They've been doing this for several years, and eventually the credit card bill's gonna come due.
So let's make it due now.
52 million over the cap.
I understand that. Let the credit card bill be due now.
And what do you mean by that?
Because you got to start cutting some people. You got to let people go. It's time to clean house.
I agree.
Drew Brees ain't walking through that door no more.
I agree.
Sean Payton is in Denver right now.
I agree.
It's time to let go and let God.
So with that in mind, this is my point about the Saints. New Orleans is not an attractive destination for a head coach for those reasons, because you got to have, if I'm a head coaching candidate and New Orleans is interviewing me, I have to have assurance that I'm gonna need time, because y'all didn't mess this financial situation.
Oh yeah, of course. No. You listen. So you remember? I'm sorry, to cut you off. Remember when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch first got to San Francisco? What they said? 6-year contract.
6 years. Yeah.
Y'all need to keep me here for 6 years.
That's what's going to have to happen. Any coach. When we talk about Aaron Glenn, but we talk about any coach. And
yeah,
what we're going to do to save time is we're going to talk about just the locations. We won't so much go into talking about each coach. We'll talk about each location and why it's a good place or why it's not.
Okay, that's a good idea then.
But New Orleans has a lot of issues. And I mean, that's going to take a major overhaul. Like, they're going to be a lot bad before they're a lot good, because they're going to have to cut a lot of people that they don't want to cut that are really good players. That's going to hurt them. They're not going to be as competitive, especially the Buccaneers are the Buccaneers. You have the Falcons, who are on the rise. They're getting a little bit better, and you're looking at this and you're going, okay, we got to. This division is known for only putting out one team in the playoffs. So, you got Derek Carr's deal. Derek Carr's already said, I don't want to take a pay cut.
Cut him.
Cut him. But then you got Spencer Rattler and you got the Hayner kid. It's like, okay, you gonna ride with that and try to get in the playoffs? You got Cameron Jordan. He's the next highest paid.
You're not going to the playoffs,
right? So that has to be clear.
And you know who else need to get cut? Taysom Hill.
Yeah, Taysom Hill's the next highest player on the roster. You have Derek Carr, Cam Jordan, and Taysom Hill.
Okay, well,
I didn't even realize how old Taysom Hill was.
How old is he?
I believe he's 30.
Cut. You ain't got to say it. Cut.
34.
What?
34 years young.
Cut. Yeah. Cut. Bye.
34 years old and injury prone. So
yeah,
you got Cameron Jordan, who's still very effective, but we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. Hey man, a pay cut. You got to help us out.
Who pay cut?
Demario Davis.
Oh yeah.
Guys like that. Tyrann Mathieu.
Honestly, you know what? I know you saying pay cut. You may have to just wipe the slate clean, man.
Exactly. It's gonna be a fire sale.
You need to just wipe the slate clean. If you're able to trade players for picks, do so. If not, cut them, because you need to have that fire sale. You really do.
So that being said, before we go to our next team, that being said, if you're interviewing me and you're Mickey Loomis, and we made our decision. We definitely want you to be the next coach of the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to say, okay, I need these assurances. I need to know that my job is safe for probably the next 6 years, because that's how long it's going to take me to fix all of this that y'all done tow up in the past. Y'all done kick that can down the road and that can bouncing back and hitting you in the face. Because the Saints were masterful at getting around the salary cap. But not looking at the long game, Because all right, remember one year they was like 80-some million over the cap and they got under it.
They were
had
the second highest team over the cap behind Philadelphia.
Yeah. And
I will never forget.
Yeah, but they worked it out and they had 17 in cap space by the time they was done. But by the way they did it, it's like, okay, I'm gonna buy this car with a 35% interest rate. That's the kind of wheeling and dealing they did. And it's like, bro, you can't, okay, you driving off in the car, but whoa, when these payments balloon. You know what I'm saying? So that's what, that's what has to happen in New Orleans. Whoever they hire, they need to leave them alone. Saints fans, y'all going to be patient. There's going to be
very patient.
There's going to be some paper bag years before you get back good again. Okay, just because of the financial situation. Moving on. The New York Jets. The owner is a nutcase. How is this an attractive place? You've seen how nuts the owner is.
The only thing I like about the Jets is Garrett Wilson, Quentin Williams, Sauce Gardner,
the roster is not bad, but
and about 4 or 5 other players.
You have some pieces on that.
No,
roster.
you do.
That's a good thing. Breece Hall, fantastic running back. The rookie kid, I can't remember his name, number 20. I think it's Allen. That's a great number 2.
Yeah, Braylon Allen. Yeah.
Allen. You still got Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson is like, hey man, I'm kind of getting fed up with this. You got Devontae Adams, but Devontae Adams, he like to jump.
No. Just you know what? I would either trade him or cut him.
He's about to be 33, I believe.
I would trade him or cut him.
Yeah. So and the trade, you're not gonna get much back in the trade either.
Oh well, just hey, listen. You get what you can for that Devontae Adams trade, and hopefully you know how to draft and figure that out. But
so you're looking at these pieces that you have, but you have so many other pieces that you need, namely a quarterback.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're right back to square one. Then you're dealing with a nutcase for an owner who's incredibly crazy and unstable.
That's why I wouldn't go there.
That makes the Jets a very unattractive place to go and coach. So that's another one. Moving on, the Chicago Bears. Okay, now here's the thing. Chicago has some pieces.
Yeah, they do.
Chicago has a championship level defense.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Chicago has a talented quarterback that just needs some development. And he needs a line in front of him. Also, let me add to this. Chicago has, if I'm not mistaken, where are they? They have about $66 million in cap space. So they can go shopping for some linemen.
The thing about it is, though, when we sit here and say shopping for a lineman, I've seen linemen be free agents in the past. And a lot of times I just not have been impressed. Okay?
Because the trend is now you draft a good lineman, you don't let him walk out the door unless you
exactly.
It's hard to find good offensive line
because even though you guys acquired Trent Williams, you guys acquired Trent Williams in the trade.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like
this is during the Dan Snyder years when Dan Snyder was just stupid,
right?
So, yeah.
But also Trent Williams wanted out, so But anyway, okay. Yeah, it's not like Trent Williams was out there saying, "Oh, look at me, I'm a free agent." No, it wasn't like that. No, it was a trade. So, like I said, when it comes to offensive linemen, it's a lot of times very, very underwhelming. I see guys get paid, and I'm like, he really wasn't that good. But you guys must see something in him, so go ahead and pay him. But whatever.
I'm willing to say this about Chicago right now is that whoever they bring in via free agency is probably better than what they have now. I think that's a fair statement. That's a fair statement.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. I mean, you know what? I guess bringing a couple guards just to help protect up the middle. Try to draft the offensive tackle and see what you can get out of that, and keep them moving. But
Caleb Williams was the most sacked.
I understand that. That's why that's the only reason why I'm not going to 100% push back on you is because of that. So yes, you need to go get a couple offensive guards who are free agents. Get yourself a center who is smart. Who is smart, and get yourself a left tackle somewhere in the draft, man.
And that's fair. And also Chicago, their ownership's not that bad. You can work with them.
Yeah.
And then again, if Chicago is smart, they're gonna draft an offensive-minded coach that can bring in his own DC, but bring in an offensive-minded coach to help develop your first overall draft pick. Because it would be completely just ridiculous to hire another defensive guy. Matt Eberflus did not know what to do with Caleb Williams.
That's true.
And that's typically the trend. Defensive-minded coaches do not mix well with young quarterbacks. So moving on. Next we have the Dallas Cowboys. So before we go any further, New Orleans is not attractive. New York Jets is not attractive. Chicago is attractive. Dallas is kind of mid. And here's why. I got 2 words for you. Jerry Jones. That's why, in my opinion, now I'm going to let you have your take because that's your squad. But in my opinion, Dallas is not an attractive place to be unless you are a beta male yes man. And you okay with being in the background. And it's all about Jerry because Jerry's narcissism knows no bounds. So anybody who's an alpha male, I run my own stuff type of coach could possibly get hired, but it's not going to last long. I.e. Jimmy Johnson, i.e. Bill Parcells, guys like that. So Jerry may go and get a guy, but they're going to fool around and not mesh. Okay, there's been rumors swirling around about Deion Sanders, and I'm going to have a real quick take about that because everybody's looking at the flash, and that's what Jerry likes. Because right now it's been dominating the sports news cycle about the Dallas Cowboys talking to Deion Sanders. But let me put it in perspective for some of you who are watching and some of you who will listen to this later. What has Deion Sanders really done to deserve to be a head coach in the NFL? Now, wait. Has he mentored some young men really well? Absolutely. Has he turned a perennial loser like Jackson State into a SWAC champion? Yeah. That's Division II football. Did he get Colorado to a bowl game after them completely sucking? Absolutely. But how many times have we seen a college coach not be able to translate that to the NFL? And go.
That is true. I will give you all that. I guess as long as he would change the culture in the locker room and bring in good coordinators, I'm not 100% against it. Deion, there's some other coaches that he's getting ready to bring in later on this week for interviews. I saw a couple of names, and
Robert Saleh was one of them.
Robert Saleh is one of them. Leslie Frazier is another one. And
honestly, I think Jerry's trying to satisfy the Rooney Rule with that Leslie Frazier one, and the Robert Saleh one. But Robert Saleh is being taken more seriously than Leslie Frazier.
Yeah, I know. I would like Robert Saleh to be the head coach. I've heard other names. We'll see. The whole thing with Mike McCarthy, though, man. And I don't know if what's his name is listening. Was it Twan?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Twan's listening, man. If Chicago hires Mike McCarthy,
I'm so sorry. My condolences.
And it's not just because of wins, losses, or X's and O's, man. It was just, first of all, he didn't like having Dan Quinn as a defensive coordinator. He did not like, constantly looking over his shoulder.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because that bears relevance into wanting to be in a place like Dallas because a lot of decisions will not be your own. if you go in and coach there. You're going to have to deal with the owner. Go ahead.
I heard Mike McCarthy was the driving force of getting Amari Cooper out of there. And the players are not like that. And I heard that he did not have a very good relationship with quarterback Dak Prescott as well. So actually, I'm glad that McCarthy's gone. Good riddance. I mean, I'll take the job. I still take the job. You just gotta you gotta change the culture though. You really gotta change the culture, and you gotta bring in some players.
The culture that needs to be changed, in my opinion, is not going to change until Jerry Jones is no longer breathing. And I hate to put it that way, but that's what has to change, because right now the mentality in Dallas, and please don't take offense to this, present company excluded, but is we them boys. And all we got to do is put on this helmet with this star and show up, and we supposed to win. Realistically, and when I finish what I'm saying, you're probably going to agree with me, Brandon. Realistically, they need a coach to come in and say, hey, y'all ain't shit.
I agree.
And y'all got to prove that you the shit.
And also get off of Twitter, man.
Yeah,
Stop
but that's what they need.
Goddamn thing on Twitter.
Huh?
Stop responding to every goddamn thing on Twitter.
They need a coach that's going to come in and say, Micah Parsons, you no longer have a podcast, damn it. You will focus on the game. Shut your ass up. That's what, honestly, Cowboy fans that are watching and listening right now, if you want to go back to the glory days, or like Jerry Jones say, the glory hole days, which pause. But if you want to go back to the glory days, you are going to need a coach that's going to literally tell the team they ain't shit and say, you got to prove it. Because right now, the cancer that is in Dallas, in that building and in the fan base, is that we deserve this just because of who we are. Am I lying?
Not at all.
Okay. And that's just being real. That's me taking the fan hat off and taking the analyst hat off, put the analyst hat on. That's what has to happen if they want to have success. If Jerry Jones wants any success, now here's the thing. Going back to Deion, he's that type of coach.
I agree.
I think he would be that type of coach.
Yeah,
I think if anybody else that he would hire is gonna be like, yes, sir, Mr. Jones, whatever you need, da-da-da-da-da. But here's the flip side of that. And we're gonna get to two more teams and we gotta move on. Here's the flip side of that. Jerry is about that old culture of we them boys, and we just great because we're the Dallas Cowboys, not because we've earned anything. Deion Sanders is gonna come in and try to perpetuate a different culture, a winning culture, and Jerry's not. They're gonna bump heads. They're gonna bump heads. So that's why I know Deion has mentioned, he said, I'm interested in it, but Deion has also said in the same damn week that I'm loyal to Colorado. So
let me ask you a question.
We don't know what Deion Sanders is gonna do.
Let me ask you a question real quick, and then let's move on.
Okay.
Jerry loves Deion.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry is 82. Jerry's trying to get a ring.
Yes.
Could Jerry move aside just enough for Deion Sanders?
His ego won't
possible.
His ego won't let it, plus his age. Because when you get old, you get set in your ways.
I understand that, but we're talking about Deion Sanders. Will he do just enough for Deion? I don't know what that just enough is.
I have been wrong, but I'm gonna say it like this. Y'all know what I'm gonna say. I'm more right than I'm wrong. I don't see it. I don't. When you get to that age, you are set in your ways, and it has to be like this, especially when you're old and set in your ways, and you have that amount of money and power.
I understand. And I'm not arguing you at all about that. I just wonder if, because it's Deion Sanders, if it's just enough.
I don't see it. Now, again, I want to be fair. I could be wrong, but I make educated guesses based on the evidence given. And based on what we've seen and what we know about Jerry Jones and that franchise, my answer is going to be a no.
Okay. And I'm not gonna argue you on that one because it can go that way.
So moving on, Las Vegas. Okay. Wow. Now Tom Brady has stepped in and he's like really just, hey, we're gonna do it like this. And he's just a minority owner, but he's had a whole lot of say so. Now, here are the pros about the Raiders. They're gonna have $92 million in cap space going into next year. They can shop. The pros is that another pro is you got only two pieces really in Max Crosby and the rookie Brock Bowers, the tight end phenom, first team All Pro. But everything else after that, guess what? After I just said all of those pros, they're nothing but cons after that. Okay, you living in a very expensive city. So anybody wants to come there has got to deal with that. You're dealing with having to do a complete rebuild of the team. You do not have a franchise quarterback. Now, you could probably rectify that in the draft, but however, if you miss in this draft on your quarterback, it doesn't matter who else you bring in as far as personnel on the roster. So then you still, I know Brady's in there and everything, he's doing stuff, but you still dealing with Mark Davis, who, let's just be honest, is just not. He makes bad decisions. I mean, look at that haircut. He just makes he makes really, really bad decisions. And that's why I feel like the Raiders are just not an attractive place to go and be a head coach. They ran Antonio Pierce off after one full year?
Yeah, 1 full year because he was an interim coach before that.
Nothing to work with, but still had that locker room fired up and ready to play every week. They felt like they could beat anybody. And that he had them rip ran ready to go. You don't get rid of a coach like that because he was establishing a culture. Now you got to reestablish a culture with a whole new coach. So yeah, and I'm calling it out. We usually don't make our division picks until the end till the summertime. The Raiders are gonna finish last in the West.
Oh, definitely.
I don't care who you bring in as a coach. That is a work in progress, and God have mercy on the man that takes that job. Yeah. So, and Robert Saleh has been interviewed for that. There's rumors circling around Ben Johnson. And before we go any further, I talk about Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. These guys have never been head coaches before. They've been coordinators. Okay. And with that, I'm saying they could go off and be fantastic head coaches. I'm not saying they couldn't. But the trend a lot of times is guys they always playing out of their station. And what I mean by that, some guys are fantastic coordinators, become head coaches and not really good head coaches. I mean, that happens. So you're gambling on a Ben Johnson that he's going to be a great head coach. You're gambling on an Aaron Glenn because he's a great defensive coordinator. He's going to be a great head coach. That's scary because you're taking a big gamble because you have guys that are like Mike Shanahan that was a great coordinator and wound up being a great coach. But then for every Mike Shanahan, you got 6 or 7 Wade Phillips. And what do I mean by that? Wade Phillips was a phenomenal defensive coordinator. Wasn't great as a head coach at all. Was not. So you got to think about that. Norv Turner, phenomenal offensive coordinator. Wasn't a great head coach. So you got to look at that. Moving on to our last team, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I say the best for last. Do you really want to work for a GM that overpays players, messes up your cap situation, and if he don't like you, basically badmouths you to the owner and tries to get you fired?
Nope, not at all.
That's not an
Next.
attractive place to go to. So that was the last team. So to recap, New Orleans, the Jets, Jacksonville, Las Vegas are the most unattractive places for a coach to go. Now, if you got somebody that's desperate for a job and they do well in the interview, fine, they're going to go there. But guess what? It's not going to be a turnaround. Chicago, by far, is the most attractive place to be at if you're a head coach looking for a job. You got a young quarterback. You got a ton of cap room. You only got a few pieces that you need to fix, and you could be right in the thick of things. Minnesota's on their way down. Chicago could come up. The Packers, they're in limbo because we don't really know how good Jordan Love is, even though they paid him $55 million. I don't want to pay Brock Purdy though. But anyway, so yeah. And Dallas is kind of an iffy thing because of the owner. Texas is an attractive place because you don't have state income tax. That's you playing for a really historic you're coaching for a really historic franchise. Those are all the pros. I didn't talk about the pros in Dallas. I apologize. Let me talk about the good things. But Dallas also is having a little bit of cap issues too, because you gotta sign your Micah Parsons, and then you still got to go out and build a team because that team has got a lot of roster issues. I'm gonna leave that alone for right now because we're running short on time. Let's get into the picks.
The picks.
All right, so last week I was 5-1 in those 6 games, and like I said before, I'm not always right, but I'm more right than I'm wrong. So we only got 4 games. This is the divisional round. This is to play for the conference championship. First game on the docket, we have the Houston Texans traveling to Kansas City to play the Kansas City Chiefs with a T. The Texas defense is going to hold their own for quite some time, but I'm really concerned about the Texans offensive line against the Chiefs pass rush.
I'm concerned about Texas offense, just period.
Against the Chiefs defense, because let's be honest, if you think that this season's success the Chiefs have had is about Pat Mahomes, you don't know football. The Chiefs' success this season has been predicated off of Steve Spagnuolo and that defense.
Yep.
They would not be winning the games that they have won had it not been how well that defense has played. They have a phenomenal defense. Pat Mahomes he's going to do Pat Mahomes type stuff, but it's been less about Pat Mahomes in the offense and more about the defense. With that being said, I feel like the Chiefs are going to win this at home. Not to mention, when you're playing 15 against 11, you got to count the officials. When the Chiefs are at home or when they're anywhere in the playoffs, the offensive line has a tendency to grasp on and hold tight. If you catch my drift. So the Texas defense and their pass rush, Will Anderson, Archery, Danielle Hunter, those guys are great, but they're going to get held a lot in that game. Unless the officials call the game square, which they haven't done all damn season, I just don't see the Texans going on the road beating the Chiefs. And I know what you saw earlier in the season, and it was close for a little while till Tank Dell went down. But the Chiefs are gonna beat the Texans. So the Chiefs will be back in the AFC Championship again. All right, moving on. Commanders at Lions. The Commanders are an upstart team. They have a bright future in front of them. But in that building in Detroit, hey, at the end of the day, the Lions are going to pull this out. I just don't think the Commanders have enough defense to stop the Lions' offensive machine. I think it's going to be high scoring because the Lions still have a lot of issues on defense, a lot of injuries. So I think the Commanders can make a game of it. I think they have the ability. Jaden Daniels is fantastic. No questions asked. He is fantastic. And he's going to make some plays when there are no plays to be made. He's going to play some hero ball. But at the end of the day, I do feel like the stage is going to be too big for Washington. And I think they're going to make an exit, which there's nothing to hang their head about Washington Commanders fans, because you were playing well above your head this year. Nobody saw the Commanders going to the playoffs this year. And you not only made the playoffs, but you got a playoff win. So that was very impressive. But I think the Lions are just going to be too much for them. I'm looking for a shootout. I'm really looking for a track meet. I really think it's going to be a track meet. I think we're looking at 28-35, something crazy like that. It's going to be a high scoring game. I think the over on, I'm going to take the over on the points, but go with the Lions.
Okay.
Next game, I'm about to say St. Louis. The LA Rams are traveling to Philadelphia to play the Eagles.
What time is that game? 3 something?
I don't remember. I think it's the first game on Sunday. Whatever
Right.
First game on Sunday is. Let me tell you something. All the Eagles got to do is not turn the ball over, and they're gonna dog walk the Rams. The Eagles defense is gonna do some strange things for some change to the Rams. Okay. The way that defense is playing right now, the way Vic Fangio is dialing up stuff, the Rams don't want that smoke. And again, they playing well over their heads and shouldn't even be there in the first place. Let's be real. Let's just keep it a buck. If those teams are playing like they was playing all season long, the Vikings will be playing this week. But the Rams, here we are with the Rams, and you finna go home like you're supposed to be. And I do feel like the Eagles. I think the Eagles are probably going to create at least 2 turnovers in this game. Mark it. It's going to be at least 2. It may be more than that. But I got the Eagles winning this and going to the NFC Championship. If that was going to be my stone cold lock, I'm not going to lock any games this week because the playoffs is crazy. I won't lock any games. I'm through locking games. You won't hear another stone cold lock until week 1 of the 25-26 season. But I got the Eagles over the Rams. Next game. This is definitely a pick'em game. I'm not putting any money on this. This is the Ravens traveling to Buffalo to play the Bills. The Ravens have Derrick Henry. The Bills can be run on. If the Ravens stick to the game plan and run the ball more than they pass it, and that's no reflection on Lamar Jackson, because again, like I said earlier in the podcast, I think he's evolved as a passer. He's gotten much better. But if they stick to their game plan, Derrick Henry can grind them out. And that's what I would do, honestly. I'd grind it out, and I wouldn't give Josh Allen an opportunity to get on the field very often. They got to play ball control. Now, if they get into a shootout with the Bills are going to win this game. But if they get into a grind it out type of game, it's going to be the Ravens game. So I have the Ravens over the Bills, pulling the road upset.
Okay.
And so we're looking at Chiefs and Ravens in the AFC Championship and Lions and Eagles in the NFC Championship, which I think most people thinking that anyway. Comment if you think something different and why. But Chiefs, Lions, Eagles, Ravens in the conference championship. That's it.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that is another week of Just a Fan Podcast. Hey, we are working on some stuff behind the scenes. We will bring it to light of maybe next week. And we'll talk about it. So please get us to some subscribers. Get us up to 500 subscribers. Not just for Patreon, but also for what the news that we might be bringing to you next week regarding us. Okay. So, Steve was on earlier. Shout out to him, but he had to go do daddy duty, so he took care of that. What? What's so funny?
No, this is why the Steve was doing daddy duty. Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, that direction, panel 316. Oh, my bad. Hold on. Let me rewind. We are live.
My salute, you know.
We are live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. You can follow us on TikTok for however much longer TikTok will be around. I think they got some little extension or something to try to hammer out something. Anyway, you can also follow us on Facebook, IG, and Twitter. Yes, I still call it Twitter. I don't care.
He does.
Crucify me.
Crucify Trent Baalke. Go ahead.
And yes, so anyway, yes, that's panel 316, the good guy with the black hat, Coach Williams, the NFL Encyclopedia. Peace out. Good night.